Welcome to 3-Point Conversion, everyone. For TSN1150.ca, I'm Marshall Ferguson. The offensive play of the day in a short session here at Ron Joyce Stadium this afternoon was made by none other than Matt Coates, receiver, of course, for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, number 81. Local fans know him from the Hamilton Hurricanes days. He's kind of that guy on the roster that's your depth Canadian receiver, and a lot of people bash and say, well, if Andy Fantuz gets hurt or if Spencer Watt gets hurt, then you have to play Matt Coates. And of course, he's at a lower level skill-wise, but his development has been pretty steady throughout his entire career here in Hamilton. And today he made a one-handed catch over the middle with a linebacker trailing underneath him, a safety over the top, and it kind of got everyone's attention. He's a fun guy to watch play because he's so quiet. If you've ever seen a Matt Coates interview, he's very direct, it's short answers, he just comes in, he works, he goes hard. Him and Gio Aprilia are kind of that national depth at the receiver position that you obviously need when you have guys like Spencer Watt and like Andy Fantuz. I'm interested to see how Matt Coates is used in this preseason Week 1 game against the Toronto Argonauts, because I think what they're likely going to do is slot him in pretty early on in the second quarter. I don't think the starters will go very deep, and at that point they'll get a true sense of what they have in him, because keep in mind, they did draft Mike Jones and they did bring in Faubert Lucier from Laval. They've got a couple of young Canadian guys in development that will be stepping all over his heels if Matt Coates does not step up and answer the challenge coming up in this first preseason game. The highlight of offensive line, defensive line one-on-ones today was Terrence Campbell, big first year that was signed out of minicamp from South Carolina, going up against Delano Johnson, who's been pretty vocal and has been very physical throughout this training camp. Delano Johnson also stole an inside run handoff today. He got through the backfield that quick at his size and just took it out of the hands of the quarterback, which was Jeremiah Masoli, and the running back, which was Michael Ford. And then, of course, he's vocal, he's loud, he was screaming, he spiked the ball, he ran away. But in pass rush one-on-ones, he was exceptional today until he reached Terrence Campbell. And Terrence Campbell is one of those tackles that they're working with at kind of that right guard, right tackle situation throughout training camp, where they think they've found an answer, a rotation guy that's an American that they can slot in. If they were to lose a Peter Diakowski for a game of two, maybe you can bring Terrence Campbell up, play him right away, and then you can find a Canadian to play in a different position. Maybe if you bring in somebody else to play offensive line that's Canadian, you don't gain that same kind of depth in the lineup. So when I looked at that today, I thought that Terrence Campbell was impressive. I thought Delano Johnson continues to get after it, and he will be a sweet surprise for people who have not seen him play as of yet when he does make the dress roster, because he's headed that direction. Third for you today in 3-point conversion. I'm joined by Jabir Walker as he is part of the NFL-CFL officiating tandem, where we send some of our guys down there and they send up nice young men like this. He played previously with Murray State, a couple of years spent in the Canadian Football League as well with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, so I was just joking. He knows exactly how hard people can be on him because Rider Nation is a little bit crazy. Thank you for doing this, first of all. It's so interesting to me, this partnership, CFL, NFL, because when I think about the difference in rules and the difference in ways you officiate, it seems like it's this huge chasm between the way that you would approach the game, but officiating is officiating. You're controlling the game and you're making sure that everyone's on the same page. Now that you're through your first practice here doing some CFL work, do you feel like it's just another day at the office, or is it strange because maybe there's less people here or it's not as big a setting?
Well, it's once they start playing, it's similar in a lot of aspects, such as stuff that I'm gonna rule on as far as pass interference, defensive holding, illegal contact, that kind of stuff. So that stuff, a lot of that stuff is similar. The only difference is some of the mechanics as far as where am I going to stand on a punt play, or where am I going to stand on a regular passing play, and just different places where I'm going to look. But as far as stuff that I'm going to call, it's just football.
Now, you're relatively new to the National Football League as well. You were put in last year, correct? 2015. So, 1 year under your belt in that league, and coming up here, in your start of your second year, it must feel like a crazy up and down evolution and journey for you early on.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I think what helped with the NFL program is, prior to getting hired on full time, I was in a developmental program, so I had worked, NFL preseason games, so I had a little bit of exposure leading up to my being on a crew full time. So now it's just trying to study both rules at the same time, and it's a lot of different nuances. So it's just trying to remember which is which and making sure that some of the stuff doesn't get, mixed up.
Is there any fear that you go back to the NFL after a while and you end up, calling somebody for no yards? You throw a flag in and everyone's looking at you going, "What the hell are you calling it?"
Yeah, I've thought about that a few times, but hopefully, once I start going to our training camps, beginning of August and preseason games, I can kind of focus on, the differences and making sure that they don't, overlap.
You were talking a second ago about the difference in location of where you will stand or the things that you will call. I saw they assigned you to the field goal session at the end of practice here, calling good or not, and I kind of laughed to myself because I'm thinking, for a guy that's played at Murray State, even though you were in the CFL for a couple of years, in the Arena League for a year, when you're standing at the front of that end zone and you're looking straight up and down the upright as you're dealing with a 55-yarder blowing in the wind at you, it's just different. Right?
Yeah, it's different, knowing, all right, am I backing out or am I staying, or and then turning, transitioning, if it's a missed kick, transitioning to blocks. So it's I'm eager to see the first live ones and make sure that I do it correct. So it'll be interesting.
Are you having fun at least?
I am. It's a great, this NFL CFL, program is really a great opportunity for me to get snaps, and as well as the other guys to kind of help us get better, because the more snaps that we see, in preseason or training camps, when it happens, when the games really count. And it's like, I saw that play, and you react just immediately as opposed to thinking about, like, I've never seen that, and how am I gonna, adjudicate that, that play. So it's definitely been a huge help.
What was your degree when you were at Murray State?
So my bachelor's degree was criminal justice, and then I ended up getting my master's at Louisville in education.
I always wonder about that for people that go into officiating, because it's like some are involved in law, some in police foundations and things of that nature. When you look at your career path, I mean, it's been speedy, it's been fun, I'm sure, over this first year or two after that development program that you were in for the NFL. Where would you want to be as an official? Do you set those 5-10-year goals? Because athletes, you set those goals where you say, I want to play pro, I want to go to the CFL, I want to go to the Arena League or the NFL. For officials, do you look at it the same way in that development?
Absolutely. I'm a math teacher, but I teach my students beginning of the year, like, you got to set goals. Short-term goals, long-term goals. So, my goal is, to eventually work an NFL playoff game, and then eventually work a Super Bowl. And as I'm going through that progression, trying to help as many young officials that aspire to become college or NFL officials, and help bring people along. So that's kind of my goals is as far as officiating.
And I mean, every athlete finds those people that they lean on for experience or knowledge. Is there an official that, since you've got into it, where they're on speed dial anytime you have a question or something you wonder or worry about? Yeah,
the referee on my crew, John Perry, he's definitely a person that I can reach out to. There's two. I'm actually fortunate. There's two officials in Louisville that back in my hometown that I can call as well if I have any questions or concerns, and so it's been a tremendous help with not just those three guys, but really all the officials that I've come in contact with have been very helpful. Even the CFL guys, they've been very helpful as far as reaching out and making sure that.
Now, being a guy from Louisville, I can't let you get away without asking, is the Kentucky-Louisville basketball rivalry as crazy as we all think it is here?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a divide.
Yeah.
It's
easy when it's red and blue, though. I guess you guys are used to those two colors separating lots of stuff down there. But I saw Calipari also signed his son to the Kentucky roster as of yesterday to be there. So might be the first guy to not go one and done at Kentucky. Might be the first. He'll stay there for a while. Jabir, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. Hope you get to that Super Bowl. Hope you get to that playoff game. When you do, we'll say that you were one of the guys that was here on the CFL internship program.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Don't forget, today on Marsh and Milton at 5 p.m., Tom Meinecht will drop by and we'll be talking about how you could possibly sell an NBA Finals that's been as much of a blowout as it's been. Plus, we'll talk some CFL news, notes, and numbers. Plus, we've got all your Ticats training camp update. A big segment planned. 6 p.m. is when you can hit us up on TSN 1150 and TSN1150.ca.